Welcome to the Tactical Dent Tech Podcast. You are now part of a small underground movement of dent technicians from all over the world. We are on a mission to change our industry with innovation, intelligence, and skill. But because we don't rely on an insurance company to steer customers our way, we need to do things different. We need to do things smarter. We do that through a network of technicians that we call the Tactical Tech Movement. Now let's get this revolution started.
Hey, what's up, everybody? John Hiley here with the Tactical Dent Podcast, Dent Tech Podcast with Angela Hiley, your co-host.
Hey.
And we are having a Tactical Tuesday / Marketing Monday today because we forgot to do Marketing Monday.
That's because we've been slaying. We've been busy.
Yeah, it's been pretty busy. We've been, I don't know if you guys heard or if you've been on Facebook or you got some of the emails, but we literally sold out of the hammers that we were building in, gosh, I want to say like 10 hours they were gone.
I know.
Yeah, we were expecting to run it until Sunday or until we ran out, and we quickly ran out Saturday night. So
Yep.
them bad boys are gone. It was a good deal that I gave for them hammers, though.
Yeah.
I think that's the one, the overwhelming response is like, damn, that was a really good deal.
Mm-hmm.
And not to mention, I mean, everybody, there was one person that didn't buy the bonus offer.
Yeah.
And what, didn't he just email us and say he forgot to buy the bonus offer?
No, there was one person that just bought just the hammer, and then the other gentleman, he forgot to add the bundle, and then...
Right, so he forgot to add it. So other than that, everybody bought the additional.
Yeah.
So we are shipping hammers all fucking day.
Yep.
Yesterday, today, and then on top of that, we got a crease in here. It's probably the longest crease I've done. Runs all the way through a bedside, all the way from front to back, pretty much. And then it actually kind of, luckily, it skipped the rear cab corner thing because that might have been donezo if it would have hit that.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of skipped over that and went into the rear door. So if I was to guess, I mean, we're looking at like an 8-foot bed there. And then on top of that, probably an additional 10 inches into the door.
Yep.
So whatever that is, that's a damn big crease.
I've been cracking the whip. I'm like, get that bitch done.
Oh, you've been talking all kinds of shit today. Yeah, so she's shipping everything out. She's getting things ready. And luckily, I mean, you can never trust a fucking computer.
No.
And we had to go through, and it just seemed like we didn't have enough orders in our ship station, which is what we use to fulfill the orders.
No, we had all of them except 3.
Except 3, yeah. But, I mean, they're supposed to go directly in there.
Yeah.
But we had a gentleman email us to add. He was the one who wanted to add that bundle.
Yeah.
And we're looking, and we're like, holy fucking shit. We're like, he's not even in our ship station.
Yeah.
So we ended up basically pulling all the info from everywhere. And we double-checked everything.
Yeah.
And we ended up finding 3 people that wasn't in the ship station.
Yep.
Luckily, we're still in the middle of fulfilling the orders. So
Yes.
that'll be going on probably most of the day tomorrow. And then going into... actually, I should probably make some extensions before we leave here.
Yeah.
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 That's what we do. So, but anyhow, y'all, we're coming to you today to bring you a podcast to talk about a little something.
Well, something.
And we actually had a client of ours from back in November, okay?
Yes.
So I would say,
he sent photos in October of 2018 for an estimate.
Yeah, and he ended up scheduling for November.
Yeah, beginning of November.
Yep, and I honestly, I kind of remember him, but I think he was a gentleman who scheduled, left the car here, and then came and picked it up after hours. So he may have paid with it like a credit card or something like that.
Yeah.
And so anyhow, we get this message over the weekend, and we get here and we see this message, and a guy is saying that his dent came back.
Yeah.
And this is we clearly see that we're getting a text message, and thankfully he booked it by text message.
Yeah.
He didn't just come in and I didn't look at it or something like that, because we were able to scroll up and see the original damage versus the new damage.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you guys this. I mean, literally, it was the rear quarter panel of a Honda Civic or Accord or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Crunched into the body line. I mean, the very first one was probably the size of a softball.
Yes.
And he brought it over here. We did the repair, right? And then his daughter takes it to college and doesn't know. She comes home and magically the dent that I fixed reappeared
Yeah.
in the same spot. Well, maybe 2 inches higher. But ironically, we're able to scroll up and see the original one, which again is about the size of maybe a softball. And we scroll down and see the new one that's the size of like a mini football.
Yeah, with also some paint damage.
Yeah,
some
additional
rust,
additional paint damage. It's been a long day.
some rust.
Yeah, so it had some rust, had like
New
a chip
scuffs.
that got like knocked out of it, and it had a rust already in the chip. It had new scratches on the bumper. It had all kinds of shit on it. So we ended up just sending the guy a text message back and letting him know that, hey, this is not the same damage that you originally had. We have your other image, and we're telling you it's not. And so he sent a message back to us basically saying that we scammed him out of his money and that he would never use our company again, and just goes on and on and on a text message. So I pick up the phone and I try to call him, and I end up getting his voicemail. So I actually had to let him know that literally, so I've got his damage right here. It's blown up inside of Photoshop. And I told him that it's like a fingerprint, Every damage that happens to your vehicle is absolutely different. And I can tell him right now that there's no way this is the same damage.
Yeah.
So I was able to identify scuffs on the edge of the bumper that wasn't there previously. I was able to identify scratches in different areas that wasn't there originally. I was able to identify a crack in the paint because I would say now his dent's so bad that I really wouldn't even want to mess with it. And
You can't because that paint.
Oh, the paint's cracked.
Yeah.
The paint's cracked, and he's got a spot with a chip and rust in it.
Yeah.
So was able to actually send him, the stuff, and I was actually able to say it on a voicemail, and we got a message back from him saying that he thanked us for the voicemail, right?
Yeah.
Was it kind of like that?
Yeah. He thanked us for you calling him and leaving the voicemail, and that he will return your phone call, but he's currently out on the road on business.
I honestly, it makes me wonder if the dude's just stupid, or is he trying to scam me? That's where I end up
I don't know.
in that big in between right there, right? Because there's that line where it's like,
is like when you have kids, they're going to try and pull one over on you.
absolutely, my kid would try that shit. John would try that in a heartbeat.
He would try it with me
Right.
more than you. He would try to pull one over on me first.
Yeah.
He wouldn't just try and do that to you. He would do it to me and see if he could get away with it.
But it would be so interesting because I told the guy, I was like, I would like you to come here,
Yeah.
because I want to sit you down in front of this computer. I want to blow up your damage, and I want to go through all the reasons why it's new
Yeah.
and all the reasons why it just happened. So that way your dumb ass doesn't go around telling people that we scammed you
yeah.
when your daughter went off to college and wrecked the fucking car again.
Yeah.
And, I'm sitting here like, dude, the damage is like twice the size. And all of you dent technicians know that. I mean, I could see if somebody fucked up on like a real soft pop dent and didn't get the crown all the way out and it still looked wavy and it left and somebody was able to thump it back in, but that's like a really shitty dent technician. But you guys, all the dent guys know out there that are doing quality work, it's never going to come back. Your dents are just not going to come back if you're doing quality repair work.
Yeah.
Period. It has to be redented,
Yeah.
And above and beyond that, not only that, a body line dent coming back twice the size.
Well, I mean, like,
I really hope the guy comes in here.
I don't know. That will be interesting.
I'm waiting for that one.
I mean, I know like there's been times where I think it's only happened maybe like twice or something like to you. I mean, this was like a long time ago, but it was when you did mobile. And I don't know if you did the repair. I think it was like in the wintertime. And then when the weather got warm or something, there was kind of like still like a little, like a flicker or something that a couple customers have seen before. And then you went out and did that, but nothing like that. Do you know what I'm saying? Nothing to where you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know what you're talking about. We actually had a lady one time that I fixed a dent in the middle of her door, and there was some damage down below it that I didn't see during the repair.
Oh.
And it was during the wintertime, so the vehicle was salty. It was my fault for not cleaning the entire door. And what that actually was is it hit in the middle of her door and it left a smiley down at the bottom.
Yeah.
So basically it was a crown that I missed. And of course I told her come back. I took a look at it and said, oh shit, okay, that is definitely from the damage that I fixed.
Yeah.
And, no crown is just going to randomly appear down there.
But that is
so I fixed it.
But that is something that can happen to anybody. But the dent that this guy's talking about is
Totally different. I'll
my.
probably end up doing a little Photoshop work on it. Just so if he, messaged me back, I'll probably text it over to him and just circle all the areas and kind of explain in detail. But I'll probably post it in our group too. Let's post it in the group.
Yeah,
once I get done with this.
it makes me wonder if he would really want to talk to you on the phone or if he would really want to see you in person.
Well, I'm not going to be all intimidating to him. I would honestly look at it, and I've done this before. So there was another time that I felt like there was somebody that came in here and was kind of trying to scam us. And back when we used to do body shop work, I required all the techs who checked in cars to do a pre-inspection video.
Oh, I know which one you're talking
So,
about. I
yeah.
know that one
No,
guy.
not that one.
Not that guy?
A totally different one. This is a totally different story. So anyhow, I had this guy who had a, again, I think it was a Honda, and we fixed his wife's bumper, I think, on it.
Mm-hmm.
And when he came in here, he said, there's a couple chips on my door that that were not there whenever I dropped it off.
Yeah.
So we went out and looked at them. It was clearly rock chips. Maybe a rock had bounced off something. And granted, it was probably in the middle of the winter as well.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I do remember it being in the middle of the winter because when we did the pre-inspection video, it was over a salty car.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyhow, he comes in here and says, man, there's chips on my door. I don't know where they come from. You guys must have dinged it or dented it or whatever, chipped the paint off.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, well, and in all honesty, I didn't know because I didn't do the video, right? So I'm like, if we did do something, I would want to know and I would want to fix it.
Yeah.
And that's what I told him. I said, man, if I did something, I would want to know and I would want to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, let's go in here and check out the pre-inspection video.
Yeah.
He says, pre-inspection video. I'm like, yeah, we do a video of every car that comes in here.
God.
So him and his wife came in here, sat behind me in the office,
Mm-hmm.
and we went through that video and went right around to that door. And as soon as it stopped at that point, I paused the video, and there they were.
And then
When the car was sitting out in the parking lot with the damage still on the bumper before it had even been washed. So, I told the gentleman, I'm just like, when we get in here at 9 a.m. in the morning, you had your car dropped off here, we go around and do a pre-inspection video.
What'd he say?
Oh, he was fine. He said, oh, well, okay, okay.
Yeah.
But it always makes me wonder because, there are them type of people out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hate to admit it. I believe that most people are very honest that I deal with. And we live in a very nice area. I'm sure, I don't give a fuck. You go in the shittier areas, you're dealing with less, honest people, regardless.
Yeah.
I'll go as far to say, like, and when the closer you get to the ghetto-ass areas, man, the worse people you're going to deal with, bottom line. Our area is probably the nicest area around Dayton. Very nice area. And I just really haven't had a lot of problems with people. I mean, I've even had people, I'm like, man, just throw the cash in the, in my box out here, whatever, my key drop, and I'll get it in the morning. Your keys will be under the mat. Have never had a problem with anybody. And, that's my faith in humanity. But occasionally you run into that one person that you're going to be glad that you covered your ass.
Yeah.
Because nothing is worse than somebody knowingly, like, they just ripped you off.
Yeah. With all of our text messages that we get, I normally keep them. I keep all of them for about 6 to 8 months, and then I'll go through and get rid of a bunch of them. And then emails, I always keep emails, like old ones. I think I keep them for about a year and a half. Because you just never know. You never know.
And I guess that's the point of the podcast and what we wanted to break down to you, because it's always good to reference the damage, to have something.
Yeah.
Whether it's a photo of the damage, something that you save that's maybe like a pre-inspection. It's better to have a pre-inspection, honestly.
Yeah.
I still remember one time when I was doing mobile repair and I was down in Cincinnati, and I noticed this guy wanted his fender fixed, but I thought it was odd because he had a bunch of scratches on his fender.
Yeah.
I mean, deep scratches. So I took my phone out and took a bunch of photos, and then I took a little video of the area.
Do you get a feeling like, man, I need to go ahead and do this?
Well, it's so funny because this guy had like one of them gay lift
Oh God!
And he's like,
Why? Why
he
stop?
and he seemed like he was like, he's like, okay, dent guy, here's my keys, and I'll be out in a minute. Check it out.
Stop.
And so anyhow,
Like,
so
stop.
he just had
Oh my
that.
God.
I don't know. He had that almost. You ever talk to a gay guy that was kind of snobbish?
Yeah.
That's how he was. He was like, I'm a snobby gay guy.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh wow, okay, that's what I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
And so anyhow, he goes
Very
in
flamboyant.
and very very flamboyant, but almost
Yeah.
like in a way,
Yeah.
He's
Like,
"Heh."
oh, I'm like better than you.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and or whatever. But yeah, I don't care, whatever. He goes in right, and I take all the photos of the damage, and he comes out. He goes, them scratches were not there.
Oh my God.
He goes, them scratches were not there when I left my car. And I'm like, hey, let me show you the video. I pulled out the video and showed him the dents, all the scratches on his panel before I'd even cleaned it off.
Yeah.
And he seemed like so annoyed that he had to write a check to me.
He was trying to get that
Oh,
repaired
yeah.
for free.
Oh yeah, he seemed like so annoyed. Like the whole time he's like rolling his eyes as he's writing the check, and you know how like that really, if you can imagine it, I mean that really really gayish look. Like you're rolling your eyes and writing a check, and one of his hands is
He
like.
was hoping that he was gonna be able to get away with it. That's fucked up.
So
That is fucked up.
I mean, but you know what I mean. That's another time. So I'm gonna recommend a lot of people, especially the deeper you get into retail, just make sure you cover your ass in certain situations.
Yeah. Did you get a funny feeling though, thinking like that guy was?
I did.
Yeah,
I did, because I would never video and photo every single car.
So
Like
it's
I
almost
would
kinda
know,
like
like if
trust
I
your
go
gut.
there and there's like a little old lady, and and she wants her dent fixed and everything looks. I mean, I wouldn't photo it before I did it.
Yeah.
I mean, you really can tell kind of like when somebody's going to be honest or when somebody's going to be a pain
You're
in the
feeling
ass.
that a certain type of energy that they're.
I mean, it's
throwing
almost like the one time. I mean, the one that you were talking about earlier was the guy that came in, and he had whatever reason he had his whole car was hit with hail damage, and he only wanted his roof fixed because he was claiming the leasing company only wanted his roof fixed.
Yeah.
So again, now the motherfucker's trying to pull one over on his leasing company, and then she told me he was weird on the phone.
Yeah.
She told me that he, for whatever reason, he didn't want to leave his name. And then this
Yeah.
guy shows up here, right? And, I'll be honest with you guys. He was sitting here waiting, and there was probably 15 of the tiniest little hail dents on his roof.
Yeah.
And I was able to glue pull them on. And you guys know what 15 hail dents on a roof cost. I mean, it's pretty expensive, but he was sitting here waiting, right? So I told him I was like something like $350.
Yeah.
So he started to negotiate with me. And he got to the point where he was so annoying that I walked over and stuck my finger on the button to open the garage door. And I asked him, I'm like, so are we going to repair your car or not? Because if not, I'm going to back it out. And he's like, oh, fine. So anyhow, he goes in here and he sits down in the office. And I'm getting ready to go work on his roof, right? And I'm kind of cleaning it off. And I see a little ding on the front of his roof. And it's got a chip on it, okay?
Touch-up paint.
With touch-up paint inside of it, right? And so apparently he already touched it up. It was probably a rock ding. And so anyhow, I came in here. I got him. I was like, hey, sir, I want to show you something. I brought him out and I said, like, I'm glue pulling your roof. That's the reason why I'm able to do it for this price for you. And I'm like, so it's probably going to pull the paint out of the touch-up, and it may rip additional paint off.
Yeah.
So I'm going to warn you. I'm like, do you still, and it was the tiniest little thing. I'm like, do you still want me to glue pull on it? And if it does pull the paint out of it, I'll put touch-up on it.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, go ahead. So, okay, whatever. Went out there, did his roof, and you know how it is, man. I was like kind of like stroking the time because I was done in like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So I wanted to stretch it out to at least like 45 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
So I would walk over and work on this motorcycle tank that I had, and then I would walk back over there and kind of walk back and forth, right? Long story short, I fixed his roof. The paint had came out of it, right? But it never ripped off any additional paint, so it was a little chip. And anyhow, well, he comes out, he looks the vehicle over, and he goes right for that spot. He goes, what happened here? And I was like, oh, hang on for a second. I went and grabbed it was a black vehicle. Everybody's got black touch-up. I went and grabbed some black touch-up, and I was like, hold on for a second, and put a little touch-up in there. He goes, so you're not going to make it smooth like brand new again? And I'm like, this
Didn't
is
he
what
say it wasn't there or
listen,
something
I
like
looked at
that?
him, I'm like, this is what we had agreed on,
Yeah.
that I would touch it up if it pulled the touch-up out of there. And he looks at me with a big smile on his face, and he goes, I don't remember.
Yeah.
And I looked at him. I was like, well, so would you like to see the pre-inspection video? Dude actually lost his shit in here. The very first time that I thought I was going to have to do a citizen's arrest on somebody was on that guy. And literally, my nephew's back in the back, who's got a loaded gun back there. And he is, like, hiding behind a curtain. Because he's, like, half scared, but, like, half ready to, like, freak out that this guy was like, fuck you, fuck this, fuck all the. I mean, he was fucking saying fuck this about everything. And I'm like, look, dude, you're going to have to pay your bill. You know what I mean? Or I'm not even going to let your car out of here. You know, and dude was going off from the moment to the moment he left. And it was the craziest shit. It was the one time that I thought I was actually going to have to get combative. The only time that I've ever seen somebody act in that manner. All the way to the point to where I had to, like, step in front of him and put my hand out in front of him. And I'm like, dude, if you take another step towards me, you know, I'm going to have to call the police on you. And, you know, I was like, I've got cameras here. So if you try to engage me, I'm going to hold you down to the ground and we're going to call the police on you. Oh, da. He thought he was tough, you know. And, but lo and behold, he finally got his bill. He wanted us to fax over to his, leasing company that he had the car repaired. I'm like, we'll fax over that we fixed the roof.
As soon as I get my money.
Again, he's going on and on and on. Made the dude pay me and pulled his car out of here and down the road he went.
Oh, I'm sure Karma got a hold of him.
Yeah, it was so crazy because I actually looked the dude up. I'm like, I hope this motherfucker ain't like an IRS agent or something like that.
Oh my God.
And so I looked him up and found out that he actually, for the city of Cincinnati, he was a city employee that approved a different type of occupancy license. So I'm like, man,
I don't know,
if I ever want a building down in that motherfucker, I'm fucked.
Man, you don't have to be an asshole.
Yeah, right.
I know everybody's been an asshole before, but sometimes it's just not necessary to be an asshole.
Right. So really, the intention of the whole podcast is just, I mean, cover your ass, especially in situations.
You know, in all honesty, though, like, trust your gut, too, because a lot of times you will get a certain feeling, and, I mean, that's happened to me time and time again in a lot of situations. There's been times where I've trusted my gut, and I've been cool beans, and then there's other times where I didn't trust my gut, and it got me in a sticky situation. And trust your gut. Yeah. Trust that feeling, you know, like that energy, that certain, because, I mean, I don't know. I've always been really sensitive to picking up people's energies and whatnot. It's either good, bad, weird, you know. So.
I totally agree. So anyhow, y'all, we going to bounce off this podcast.
Yes.
All right. And don't forget to leave us a review. We're getting towards the end of the month. We're going to have to come up with some sort of giveaway here for the end of the month. We'll have to see what we got going on, and we'll get back with you guys. We got a Thursday podcast coming.
What is it? I think Sunday's the 30th. Yeah, Sunday's the 31st, and then, oh, that's right. Monday is April 1st. That's April Fool's Day.
Ah.
Yeah.
Nice. I wonder what I'm going to do to you. Cellophane on the toilet?
I don't know. I always know. Can I tell you something? Like, I get it and stuff like that because I know, like, a lot of women have done it. Do you ever see these things on, like, Facebook where they're like, okay, April Fool's is coming up. Don't go and pretend and tell everybody you're pregnant and then you're really not pregnant. Like, pull that joke or something because they're saying that, like, you know, it's not nice to do something like that because of women that can't have children.
Oh, really?
You've never seen that? And I'm just like, oh, dear God. I think it would be, like, totally awesome if I pulled something over on John. Like, got a pregnancy test, and it said I was...
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and ended up, like, freaking out.
And that's a whole nother subject, but, like, why is the world so fucking sensitive that whatever me and you do in the privacy of our own fucking life has to involve anybody else or their feelings?
It's not like... people that pull a joke or something like that, they're trying to, like, intentionally hurt other women or couples that can't have children. I don't know, like, I see that all the time, and I'm just like, dear Lord. I don't know.
You know, I mean, all of that is just crazy.
I don't know.
We're to the points where anything you do is going to offend somebody, so fuck it, I'm just going to offend everybody.
I know. But I think what it is, like, on Facebook, you can, like, people get offended so easily. Yeah. That's what I've always noticed.
Well, you know, they're too busy looking at other people's lives.
I know. That's like, I always tell you all the time, I'm just like, you know what? I was like, I'm over here on Instagram and it's my jam. And I'm just like, woohoo, this is so much fun. And then I get on Facebook and start scrolling down. I'm like, dear God.
You know, honestly, like I only use Facebook to interact with all y'all out there. I mean, really, the tactical group and
Yeah.
the things that I do on Dent Trainer, the things that we do for the industry, that we do on the, I just know that Facebook's a good platform for that.
Yeah.
So I really prefer the pages that we interact on, the groups that we interact on. I like to mainly stay in our group as much as I possibly can. I will interact in other groups and stuff like that if I think it's important. But above and beyond that, I really like to kind of like stay on my own,
I know.
stay on our own territory, right?
I know.
So,
I always like venture out of my territory and start scrolling. And I'm just like,
yeah, I
dear
remember I used to do that.
God. 2 minutes in and I'm like, okay.
Well,
I mean,
the
you see
problem is
some
with
funny
Facebook,
stuff.
it's like it's everybody's just showing their highlight reels, and I think people tend to look at that, or you got somebody who is kind of hilarious because I do remember people that I would check on that were literally like a total mess. I actually had a one of my nieces that occasionally I would go look at hers because she would do things like
Oh, God,
what did she
John.
say? Like she was bragging one time that she got Section 8 finally, which is basically government housing. And I'm
God.
just like, wow. And like
That's a
people were
hot mess.
congratulating her like she had just received a promotion or something like that. Now, since then, I will be happy to tell you guys that she has totally changed. She actually she got rid of some loser guy that was in her life, and she
Yeah.
has a decent job. Now, unfortunately, he's probably going to be getting out of prison eventually
Oh my God.
to ruin everything for her. But for now, she's a manager somewhere, has a decent job, and she's not celebrating that she just got Section 8.
She actually bought a house.
Yeah. So there, I mean, that shows you, though, the wrong
The growth,
individual
Yeah.
in your life, what they can actually bring in your life. But
Yeah. And also what growth can do too.
yeah, but most girls, I mean, they fall for that shit over and over again.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
There are some funny people on Facebook though too. That I
Yeah.
get a laugh. I like that one thing that I seen. What was it? You and Jay were talking about that whole cheese thing or whatever.
Well, see, I had never even heard of the whole cheese head
I
thing.
didn't either. And then I seen it on Facebook, and I will say like that was funny as hell.
It actually makes me want to get a cat just to see if a
Oh
cat
my
will freeze when you throw cheese at its face.
And it's not mean because it's a treat because they can
Oh,
end up
come
eating
on, man.
it.
If anybody calls that mean, my dog would let me throw cheese at her all day long if she got to eat it.
Yeah.
She's like, fuck, throw it at me. Shit.
I think we need like a really big, huge piece of cheese to throw at Layla.
Yeah, Layla would probably be one of them dogs that would catch it before it even came close to her.
No, we
Our
would
American
be able.
Bulldog.
The first time we would be able to pull one over on her.
If she was sleeping, maybe.
No, the first time because we catch her off guard. But then the second time she'd be on alert and she'd be catching
Yeah.
that cheese.
I don't know. I can do without the cheese head thing, to be honest with you. It was funny, but
I thought it was funny. I thought it was hilarious.
I
was
can
in here
definitely
dying
definitely
laughing.
do without it.
Oh, stop being a little Debbie Downer. It's funny.
The only time I actually seen it was Louis from Pittsburgh. He did slap Selena in the face with cheese. And I didn't really know what that was about. I was like, what the fuck is this Louis up to? Like, I had no idea it was a trend. I'm just like, what the fuck is
She
this?
didn't look very amused either. I think I seen that. But didn't you say he was doing it to his animals though too?
Yeah, I think he was, yeah. I think he did get his animals too. That's the only time I seen it, and I just thought it was a Louis thing. I didn't take it.
Oh,
I was
throw
just
the
like,
piece
what the
of
hell's
cheese.
this dude doing, man? I didn't know he'd seen it somewhere and then started doing it.
We just must have been out of the loop. Must have been going on for a while.
I'm never really in that loop. I always hear shit from people. People are like, did you see this?
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck no.
Yeah.
Shoot, I had a guy ask me, I don't even watch politics anymore. I mean, I don't watch political shit.
No.
I mean, I know a decent amount of what's going on, but I don't know the crazy fucking details that people that spend all that I don't have time to do that shit, man. I don't have the time to invest in that.
That fucks with my psyche. I'm just like, I can't do this. No.
Did I ever tell you, like, I ran into the guy he's a libertarian, and he worked for part of the Republican Party around here in Centerville. I did dent removal for this guy. Went to his house, and he tells me, and I believe him. Like, I believe him. He tells me that Washington, D.C. is like WWF wrestling.
Oh, I bet.
He said that they put on this big ass show.
Oh, yes, they do.
He said that it's the craziest thing you've ever seen. He said
Yeah.
literally it's like it'd be WWE wrestling.
Yeah.
I always say WWF because I'm old school like that.
Yeah.
But WWE wrestling, like they literally get in front of their people and get on TV and they start, yelling back and forth at each other or whatever.
Yeah.
They create a, in my opinion, it's like being an entertainer. They're entertainers up there. But he said
Yeah,
in
in
the
a
evenings or
fucked up way.
on the weekends, he said they're all hanging out at the same parties. They're slapping each other on the
absolutely.
ass, saying, Nancy Pelosi rubbing elbows with, Newt Gingrich, slapping each other on the ass, saying, hey, there you go, champ. We got the Americans a little further into our pocket now, didn't we?
Yeah.
And by default, if you actually look at politics, you would find that they're just like anybody else who has a job. They want to have job stability, and to have job stability, they got to become more important. To become more important means they got to take over more of our shit. We got to be able to rely and depend on them more and more and more.
They need, you know what? It would be nice though if they would have came up with something and actually passed a law to where they would only be able to serve for so long, and then that's it.
You think they're going to pass a law?
No, they're not.
Like they're the
not.
ones that they're not going to pass a law
I know.
that
I know.
you know what I mean, that hurts
I
their ability, hurts what they do.
I know.
They're career politicians,
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know if it's like that now with Trump up there, but I'll just say that. I mean, I think he's doing great. I mean, from my perspective, but again, I really don't get too much into it. I'm too busy living my own life. I can't be living through some fucking bunch of political bullshit.
No.
So, but anyhow, above and beyond that, y'all, we're going to bounce out of here.
Yes, we will.
All right, we'll see you on the next one.
Remember, it's all about the hustle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bang, bang.